Like all underwater divers and photographers, Brandy Muller has always dreamed of making incredible discoveries beneath the waves. Throughout her career, she discovered many beautiful places, but found no underwater treasures or forgotten wrecks. As she began to grow, Muller think that she would never make the iconic discovery. Brandy's original normal vacation has been changed because of the Marshall Islands. During a daytime dive, Miller observed a strange object deep beneath the sea. As she got closer, the young photographer stumbled upon her new world, a plane wreck left from the ocean floor. After finding the plane, Miller discovers the mysterious reason why the plane was abandoned. Before we start, can we get this video to 1,000 likes? Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Since her childhood in Wisconsin, Brandy Miller has been obsessed with two things: the ocean and photography. As a child, she persuaded her family to take vacations at sea. As a teenager, she was on her way to becoming a great diver. All these years, the passionate explorer of the ocean has dreamed of making a great discovery, one that will go down in history. Little did she know that day would come sooner than expected. It all started when she saw a plane under the sea. Brandy's love of scuba diving was so strong that it even led her to enlist in the U.S. Coast Guard right out of high school. While serving her country, Brandy began teaching scuba diving lessons, sharing her passion with others, and even learning to sail a boat at the same time. While Muller's love of diving seemed to be everywhere, her parents inspired her love of photography. In fact, her hobby is capturing her nature by using her parents' camera. By the age of 15, Muller had developed a keen eye. Her amazing skills as a diver, combined with her extensive experience as a photographer, ultimately made her a legend among nature photographers. With multiple awards in her backpack, including those from National Geographic and the Smithsonian, Muller considers herself lucky to be one of those who make a living out of what she loves. Even so, she has a desire to achieve something memorable. Soon, she'll have it. Thanks to all of his great experiences, Miller has a lot of great places that she loves to return to time and time again. I love diving for wrecks, which is why Chuuk in Micronesia, formerly known as Trooklagen, was the site of a huge battle in World War II that left many ships, planes, and other war artifacts in the ocean. Brandy Muller, 31, is taking a well-deserved break after a decade teaching and working in the Coast Guard. Instead of going to one of her favorite dive sites, she decided to return to a beautiful place she'd only been to once, the Marshall Islands. For those of you who don't know, the Marshall Islands are a long, narrow strip of islands roughly halfway between Hawaii and the Philippines. In the first few days, Muller did all the typical Marshall Islands dives. She then decided to go out with a friend to check out a new dive site he had heard about 5 miles off Roynham Island, a place unknown to all but a few divers. If you've never been, the Marshall Islands is a land of surreal beauty. Not only that, but they're home to some of the most incredible dive sites in the world. However, Muller was exploring places that day that had only been visited by a handful of divers before her. At first, everything works fine. However, at this moment, Muller saw a strange huge figure appearing in the blue mist below her. As she approached the objects, Muller watched them begin to take shape. She saw large flat pieces of metal break away from the larger steel pipes. What could these strange objects be? As Muller swam close to the mysterious object, she took a short break. After reaching the object, Muller realized that the metal part wasn't completely empty. Instead, they appeared to have colored emblems painted on them. The young photographer had no idea she was about to make one of the greatest underwater discoveries of all time. When Brandy Muller got closer to look at the painting on the metal, she realized what she was seeing was actually an airplane. Just by looking closely, the woman could tell the plane was old. Why would anyone leave a plane here? Why hasn't anyone found it before? Although Muller knew she had made the discovery of her life, she didn't know that the first plane was just the beginning. Her subsequent discoveries would make Muller one of the biggest names in underwater exploration. As Muller swam around the plane, another shape appeared around her. That's another plane. Then, as the diver swam to the man, another appeared. There are hundreds of people. Miller's heart beat harder. Although she had always dreamed of finding an undiscovered wreck, he never imagined finding an entire plane graveyard underwater. Mueller was shocked to find such a thing because she knew it was a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. So she immediately started taking pictures. Now they call it an airplane graveyard, Mueller told Post Online. As Mueller continued to explore the place, she realized that there was something strange about these particular planes. As Mueller photographed and explored the wreck, she began to wonder more and more about how the planes got to their watery graves. To her, they were from World War II, the Korean War, or the Vietnam War. However, regardless of the war, how did they come here? It seemed odd that they were all shot down, and so close together. In addition, Mueller was shocked by another thing. There were no human remains on the plane. If they were shot down, she hoped to find anything. She was struck by another thing. Why are all these planes in near-perfect condition? As Mueller kept taking pictures, looking for more planes, she noticed something interesting. Despite the rust and barnacles, the aircraft is in excellent condition. In fact, many are intact with only minor scratches and scratches on the body. No bullet holes, no distorted metal, no warped fuselage. Although Mueller knew he had made the discovery of his life, she didn't know that the first plane was just the beginning. Her subsequent discoveries would make Mueller one of the biggest names in underwater exploration. With Brandy Mueller resurfaced with her incredible images, she can't wait to see how the world reacts to her discovery. However, as she steered the boat back to the dock, a question was posed to the woman. Should she share her discovery before she knew what she had found? What if she gets into trouble? So Mueller decided to do some research before uploading good photos to the internet. Seeing the photos, Mueller began to think more and more that the planes were from World War II. They just don't look like aircraft from the Korean War or the Vietnam War. When she began researching World War II, Mueller quickly realized she had discovered what historians have been looking for decades. Although it took some effort, Mueller eventually discovered that Marshall Island had been a dumping ground for U.S. forces after World War II. Not only that, but archaeologists and historians have been looking for the exact spot where the military disposed of a large number of aircraft. The more Mueller investigates, the more interesting information she finds. For example, most Americans are unaware of Operation Aggregation that took place shortly after World War II. Mueller learned that the rally was a conduit for the U.S. Army to process vehicles, such as tanks, planes, and jeeps that were flown to the Pacific during World War II. It is logical that the government would pay to bring these vehicles into combat. However, it costs even more to get planes, tanks, and other mobile equipment across the Pacific. Believe it or not, this sounds simple. Once on the road, the Navy loads the vehicle onto an aircraft carrier and uses forklifts to push it out to sea. The coral-covered metal pile is now known as the $1 Million Point because of the large amount of debris created by this action. However, most people still refer to this place as the airplane graveyard. Like many others, Mueller was certainly disturbed by the level of debris at the scene. The government can at least scrap them. They could even give them to the Marshall Islands, which remains one of the poorest places in the world. It's not like this. After more than 70 years underwater, the plane has aged and become home to beautiful and vibrant sea life. The Kwajalein Atoll Lagoon, where the aircraft graveyard is located, is home to Japanese and American World War II remains, including more than 25 ships and more than 160 aircraft. Among the planes Mueller found was an F-4U Corsair, which landed in the sand on its nose, standing upright for years. In the early 1940s, the Intrepid was replaced by a Curtiss SB-2C Helldiver, so it was abandoned in the ocean. The Helldiver, meanwhile, was a larger and faster aircraft, although production delays eventually led to the cancellation of major orders by the British and Australian armies. Amazingly, the three planes landed within a mere meter of each other. Even more impressive is the fact that most of the plane has remained intact over the years, with only a few severed tails and wings lying on the ground. Incredible images. For many of the photos, Mueller decided to use aerial views to capture the length and enormous wingspan of the aircraft. By providing an aerial view of these aircraft, Mueller was able to reveal one of World War II's most coveted and lost secrets, especially for historians who are not ready to go underwater. Although Mueller managed to locate more than 150 planes on the seabed, not all of them landed on the ground intact. While most of the planes remained in good shape, Some were not so lucky and were destroyed before reaching the bottom. However, even these broken planes can provide underwater archaeologists with a lot of information about the aircraft of the time. Muller decided to collect and publish photographs of all the forgotten American aircraft of World War II in a book titled Aircraft Graveyard: The Forgotten World War II Warbirds of Kwajalein Atoll. With this book, readers can discover the stories of these historic aircraft, their role in the Pacific theater of World War II, and more about how they ended up on the ocean floor.